Hey everyone! This video is a bit of a break from the regular programming, so settle in, get cozy, and let me provide a brief entertaining escape from this. Whatever's going on right now. In my attempt to assimilate to Australian culture, I have spent my days outback camping and drinking 4X Gold, but most importantly, I have started watching Australia's national treasure trash television show, Married at First Sight. And it's gonna take me a bit of a rant before I get to the point of this video, but I have decided that MAFS, which I initially thought had absolutely zero redeeming qualities, may just be the cure to woke culture. Hear me out. For those non-Aussies here, MAFS is essentially Saw, but for people's hearts and emotional well-being. I reckon the very same people who watch and enjoy MAFS would be the front of the line at Roman Colosseums to see lions maul people to death, which has made me have to ask a lot of questions about my own moral well-being. But to be fair, at least in this case, people have willingly consented to the torment. The plot is pretty self-explanatory. People get married to another contestant, and they meet for the first time at the altar.
I know this isn't the most common way to meet your wife, so let me tell you a little bit about myself.
You stand in front of a girl that has had her fair share of challenges.
On every birthday since I was 15, my one wish was to fall in love.
I will say it's hard not to find it slightly funny that we have gone full circle from wanting to totally reject traditional forced marriages to being so desperate for a matchup in confusing hookup culture hell world that will literally let reality TV show hosts arrange our marriages now. And yeah, that's another aspect of this show. They've got a group of apparent experts who allegedly use some sort of expert analysis to decide who would be best fit together. Here's their expert process of matchmaking.
I think perhaps a great match for Liam would be Georgia.
Yes.
She's incredibly open-minded, and I think that would be a really nice starting point for her and Liam.
Absolutely. She's very young, but she's very confident.
You could almost say there's no process at all here, or even that the experts deliberately match people knowing they are going to absolutely suck, but provide quality entertainment for the production, because nearly zero of the couples actually end up staying together. One could easily rename the show Divorced in 8 Weeks, which ultimately seems to be what the producers want. I honestly don't understand how these experts and producers get away with so much with so little criticisms from the public, because to put it simply, they're psychopaths. One episode, the expert John Aiken literally says, to bond our couples, we have decided they need to rank how hot they think everyone else on the show is in front of each other.
The sooner our couples are forced to confront and confess their true feelings, thoughts and secrets, the sooner they'll get to know each other on a deeper level.
Inside this envelope are photos of all the other brides and grooms in this experiment.
And you'll have to place them in order of who you find yourself most attracted to right now to who you have the least attraction for.
No.
Could you imagine going to a relationship therapist for your struggling marriage and said therapist getting a bunch of photos of your mate's wives, putting them up on the wall, and telling you to rank how hot they are in front of your own wife to bond you? He would lose his license. That is relationship terrorism. And ends up being absolutely disastrous for all the couples. Now, as mentioned, the show has absolutely no redeeming qualities except for one thing, which is really what I wanted to discuss today. Married at First Sight deliberately pushes the limits of what people pretend they are comfortable with, what they pretend their worldview is, versus what it actually is. The show so meticulously pulls apart the images of perfection people try to display publicly versus what we actually are as human beings. Broken, shitty little deviants who could never live up to our culture's demands, and therefore always need forgiveness. Every single character introduction starts with something along the lines of, I'm loving, friendly, playful, am looking for romance, easy to get along with, have a big heart, and I'm incredibly open-minded.
Actually get to know me. They'll see I am the least judgmental person you'll ever meet. I really want to find love.
I think country people are a little bit more open in getting to know somebody, and they've got old school values, old school morals. And, you know, 100% that's part of my morals as well.
And that's just like every single person. Even if someone were none of these things, it's not like anyone's gonna go on the show and just straight up say, hi, actually, I'm an incredibly prejudiced, closed-minded, cruel, gaslighting bastard. No one does that. But our experts, they know how to handle this. They know how to bring out the worst in people. Oh, you thought you were just coming on here to find a wife, did you? Joke's on you. You're about to become a dad at first sight. And if this bothers you, well, we'll probably make you look like a horrible, judgmental individual.
Yeah.
Any kids? No. Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Wow.
So I've got 2 boys.
Really? What age?
7 and 6.
But the pranks don't end there. One of my absolute favorite scenes in MAFS is when they have a bisexual guy, Liam, join the show and don't tell his wife Georgia that he is in fact bisexual, but instead get her to start talking about how open-minded she is right before he drops that bomb on her, ensuring that she is stuck with absolutely no other option but to say she has no issue with it. I swear, watching this, you can see her die inside, realizing just how completely cornered she is.
I would really struggle if you were super judgmental and closed-minded. That would be hard for me because I'm totally the opposite.
What are yours, Leia?
Yeah.
Like,
Why not negotiable?
Yeah, nah.
So what if they didn't swing your way? Is that not a non-negotiable?
No, it's fine. Like,
Are you bisexual?
I am, yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention?
Random side note, something that blows my mind about this situation with Georgia and Liam is if you are bisexual, whatever, but if you're going to get married and you intend to stay married, there's absolutely no point in bringing it up ever again. Unless you intend on cheating on your partner. Yet this dude Liam makes it the basis of their conversations and his entire personality for the whole show, almost as if it's a shit test to see if people are bigoted or not. But no one can bring this up, no one can mention how it's a bit weird or maybe it's uncomfortable for his wife because that would just be far too bigoted. So our girl Georgia here just has to smile and nod because she's open-minded, right? But more on that later. Let's get to the main attraction. We all know a good chunk of people join reality TV shows for the sole purpose of getting their name out there. And good old Bryce, a radio show host from Canberra, the show's favorite villain, has been accused by just about everyone on the show and even his friends outside of it of doing just this. Early on, it becomes very clear the sort of image that Bryce wants to set up for himself in the show as the man confronting other men's sexism and bigotry. But the whole time, he seemingly just ignores his own wife's demands not to cause trouble and ignores all the other women's demands for him to just, please, stop it, Bryce.
The way that he treated Coco was very disrespectful, and I'll put it to him and to the group and say, hey, hold yourself accountable. At the end of the day, it's standing up for not just all the girls here, but in general. So I'll fly the flag for us. It's about standing up for what's right, and if he's going to disrespect women, then hey, look what's coming your way.
Mid-season, Bryce finally works up the moment that he's going to unleash his feminist heroism and call out another man for his horrid treatment of women. And it totally backfires on him. As all the women are sitting there wondering, why are you doing this? Also, you're kind of a jerk yourself to women. Maybe take a look inward before going after everyone else.
Bryce, what is your actual problem with Sam? Like, I can't understand.
We can't put our finger on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you think he respected women in general, like respected Coco on the couch?
I think it went a bit of both ways. Like, you can see that they're both very strong personalities.
So, okay, if James said that to you on the couch, how would you react?
That's between James and Joe, though, isn't it? You don't know the full story behind every story, do you? Or when I was under the pump on the couch there, I thought it was a little bit out of line. And also used pretty strong words. Yeah, I did.
Okay, hey, Coco, how do you feel?
Wow, Bryce, I love how you bring everyone into it. Fight your own fight, darling.
Hang on, hands up. Out of all the boys here, who thought I was wrong?
Why do we need to bring everyone in? Why do we need to, go to war?
Do you need the whole of Australia to hold their hand up, Gonzo?
I hope every person in Australia hates your guts, to be fair. Seriously.
He's trying to act like he's this great husband or this great man. But I think Bryce is a bit hypocritical Like, he's got his own problems in his own backyard. Also heard that you, the other week, were calling Melissa unattractive.
Hang on.
After you had slept with her.
Hang on, here we go. Let's clarify this. Hey, Liz, out of everyone, did I put you fourth?
Fourth. Wow, what a champion.
Melissa's not enjoying this. You know, Bryce is trying to justify that she's got my back, but she looks really uncomfortable.
Embarrassed.
This dichotomy continues on the show for ages, with Bryce failing over and over and over again to play up his feminist good guy role, and instead getting so worked up himself that he ends up being called out by other guys for being rude to women.
Bryce, say your piece because you deserve to say it.
No, I'll let the puppeteer here go.
Wow.
Hey, do not speak to not only my wife, but any other female with language like that again, all right?
Mate, all I'm saying is the facts, like I did to Sam last week.
You can say the facts. It's fine, brother. Don't swear. It comes across abusive. I won't have it, so don't do it.
Which, to me, is just chef's kiss incredible, because it goes to show that most people's attempts to give off this certain type of woke image totally falls apart when others have the opportunity to really observe them in their own life and relationships. It also totally exposes a too often unacknowledged reality that many victims of woke narratives are perfectly capable human beings themselves, being used as pawns in someone else's arguments, like these women who immediately reacted by saying, "Mate, we're fine. Is this really even about us, or is it about your narcissistic image?" Bryce has now been dubbed one of the most disliked men in Australia, with friends even ending their friendships with him over his show dramas. Now, I feel this is an important time to mention that I am aware these shows are totally edited, that they take people out of context, they make sure the subjects are absolutely wasted at the dinner parties to get good content out of them, and when people are fighting, our little sociopathic producers over here are in the corner just throwing fuel on the fire. Perhaps Bryce isn't as bad as he's portrayed in the show. I'm totally willing to consider that. Every producer needs a villain, even if they have to create them. However, I do think that Bryce being in radio, being in the media business before MAFS, creates an interesting lesson and thought experiment. Because one of two things is true. One, Bryce is actually as awful as the show MAFS portrays him, which brings up the question of why people never noticed it on his radio show. Or two, Bryce isn't actually as bad as the show portrays, and he's just had to learn the hard way how the media ecosystem and its need for victims and entertainment is a never satiated beast, and will turn on absolutely anyone, even its own members. In the first instance, if Bryce is truly very awful, no one noticed on his radio show because he was the one controlling the narrative. No one questioning, challenging him, or making him look bad would ever be put on air, and this is 99% of media you see. And if the second option is true and he has been misportrayed, well, I think he must be having some really deep internal thoughts about the toxic sphere he hitched himself to, and I'd hope other members of the media watch and consider what would happen to them if they lost the ability to control the narrative, how even they could find themselves the most hated villain in the country. This path of reputational destruction has occurred for many show subjects. Take, for example, the bisexual, open-minded Liam and his incredibly open-minded wife, Georgia, I mentioned earlier. Well, eventually a video was leaked of a hot tub party with the wife Georgia and a few other guys talking about how they felt Liam was a fat, horrible human who was a full-blown homo.
Carrie
Georgia.
and Georgia, sorry.
By the pool.
You're
bisexual.
By the
Georgia's husband is full-blooded homosexual. He's ugly and chubby.
Making it very clear Georgia was not actually into this at all, and as I'm sure you suspect, the media went on to tear them all apart as homophobes. What about Liam himself? He at least came out as a victim here, right? Well, no. No one gets out unscathed from this experiment, no matter how many oppression points you garner. He ends up getting called out by his wife Georgia for being a horrid man who degrades, gaslights, and manipulates women, and a bunch of people in media and viewers actually agreed with her, calling out his sexism, and he went on to be totally dragged on Twitter. I really doubt he expected that outcome, and I doubt Georgia expected that outcome, given the length they went to work together to have this open-minded image. And while I by no means am making final judgments about who these people actually are in real life, because this is a heavily edited television show, it was a pleasure to see the very strong implicit message that most wokeness is fake, or at the very least, an impossible standard to hold real people to, and a real-time display of how entertainment both encourages and thrives off of people's failures. As dehumanizing as all of this is, and as weird as this is going to sound, I genuinely think if everyone were forced to do a reality TV show like this once in their lives, we may have a better world. One where a lot more people would be knocked off their moral high horses, and where we would be forced to confront our real human nature after observing the failure, complexity, fear, and judgment of every single human on Earth. Because only when we recognize our failures can we fix them and nurture the good aspects of being human, the love, the beauty, and the hope of it all. And also, I doubt anyone would trust the media ever again, which would be a really nice side effect. But anyways, that's the last bit of moral lesson I could desperately squeeze out of this mind-numbing show, of which my own depraved rubbernecking nature could not stop watching. I hope this was at least vaguely interesting or entertaining to some of you, and I will see you all next time. Actually, no, before that, make sure to hit like and subscribe. And speaking of moral lessons, if any of you have kids and you are looking for something a bit more positive to share with them than my rants on MAFS, please go pick up a copy of George Alexopoulos and I's ABCs of Morality. Your copy will not get this ugly bar across. That is the author copy. What you will get is George's lovely artwork and my poems on wholesome things like community, humility, virtue, wisdom, even some of the uglier things of life like groupthink that kids should understand and avoid. You can find that in the link down below on Amazon.com. All right, actually goodbye this time. Thanks for watching.